Hey everyone, Ashley here. Welcome to Ashley Talks Movies, and welcome to my review of Halloween Ends. It's the final film in this new Halloween trilogy, allegedly. The film is also directed by David Gordon Green, who also directed 2018's Halloween reboot, as well as 2021's Halloween Kills. And since Halloween Ends is supposed to end this trilogy, it's going to have the final showdown, the big showdown between Laurie Strode and Michael Myers. Now, before I get into the review, a few things. If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel by clicking on the subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. Also, hit that notification button so you don't miss any of the videos that I'm posting. Okay, time for the review. Halloween Ends is a different type of Halloween movie. It's ambitious, I'll give it that, but the film takes a lot of big swings with the story, and unfortunately, most of those swings are a massive miss. Honestly, this movie just felt like it was trying to do too many things at once, and maybe that's because it was trying to wrap up this trilogy and to make all these movies connect in some way, like have an overarching storyline that felt cohesive, as well as wrap up this long-standing story between Laurie Strode and Michael Myers. But unfortunately, it just didn't work. The film starts off by introducing us to a completely new character named Corey Cunningham, and this guy is basically a town pariah. There was an accident a few years ago involving a kid that he was babysitting, and ever since then, he's been this outcast. You have Laurie Strode is back. Jamie Lee Curtis is portraying this character once again. And she's now living with her granddaughter, Allison, and writing a memoir. Meanwhile, Allison is working as a nurse, and Allison becomes involved with Corey. And the Corey story, his whole storyline, takes up a big chunk of the movie and leaves very little room for everything else. And then, of course, you also have Michael Myers, who's alive and sort of lurking in the shadows. Now, Jamie Lee Curtis is wonderful as Laurie Strode. I had no problem with her performance whatsoever. But my one big complaint with this movie in regards to her character is that she's once again sidelined in the movie. It's not as bad as it was with Halloween Kills. Here she has a little bit more to do, but it's still kind of, unfortunate that she isn't utilized as much in this final film as she probably could have been. As for the other performances in the film, they're fine. Although I will say, I didn't really like what was done with the Allison character. There's some decisions that this character makes that just feel so out of character in comparison to all the previous films. And I guess you could chalk it up to hey, this character has gone through a lot of things, so maybe she would be acting a certain way. But to me, it just felt just completely out of character. Halloween Ends has a number of other problems. One, it has a pacing problem, and you can really feel that problem in the first half of the movie, which just completely drags and in many ways feels really, really boring, like waiting for anything to happen. It also doesn't have a lot of tension, which is surprising and unfortunate for a movie like this, because you're kind of banking on this idea that there is this evil lurking, evil being Michael Myers, and also the evil that just is present in this kind of place. And you would think that would lead to there being this sort of suspenseful energy involving, the storyline and all these characters, but unfortunately it isn't. It's also not very scary. I mean, there's very few scares. I would say there's probably maybe one scare in this movie. Other than that, it's not even that scary. And this film, this kind of goes back to what I mentioned at the beginning of this film, trying to do too many things. There are a lot of ideas in this movie that are kind of thrown out there. The idea of the nature of evil, the idea of what happens when you let evil consume you, or you won't let things go. There's all these really interesting thematic ideas that are kind of thrown out in this movie, and not much is done with them. And that happens quite a few times in this movie. Again, I'm trying not to get into specific plot points because I'm trying not to do spoilers, but it happens quite a few times in this movie, and it was very, very frustrating because the pieces are there. This movie had some really interesting elements, and it doesn't do much with any of them. I mentioned the whole showdown between Laurie Strode and Michael Myers. It happens. I'm not going to get into the specific details of that, big showdown, but I will say when you get to it in the movie, it just feels so uneventful. Like all this stuff is supposed to be building up to this, and you get to it and it all just feels rushed because again, the film is focusing on so many other things that it feels like it had to get this showdown between Laurie Strode and Michael Myers, and it's like, oh wait, we only have 30 minutes left. Let's get to the showdown. And so it just kind of ends in a whimper instead of a bang. So that's my review of Halloween Ends. If you've seen the movie and you want to share your thoughts, you can do so in the comment section below. While you're here, like this video, hit that thumbs up button, and don't forget to subscribe to see more videos like this.